year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge.
Okay.
Officers initiated a traffic stop after observing the defendant cross several lanes while failing to signal and almost causing a collision. Upon contact, the officers observed an odor of marijuana. The officers asked the defendant to step out of the vehicle and asked whether the defendant had the marijuana inside. The defendant admitted he did have marijuana inside, as well as a firearm. During the search of the vehicle, the officers found a handgun in plain view on the driver's side floorboard, not in holster. And the officers also located 13 grams of marijuana under the passenger seat.
Got it. All right, Mr. Flores, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go.
Wait, did you catch that? The officer who made the stop was actually outside her jurisdiction. And in legal terms, that's not just a technicality, it could be a deal breaker. Buckle up, because this defense argument is about to challenge the very foundation of the stop.
With your case, do you have a valid Texas driver license? Do you not?
I have a SR22 in place. My license was suspended.
Okay, you're not allowed to drive. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
If I find that you drive, I will have a contempt hearing. It's possible you face another 6 months in jail. I'm going to have you sign an affidavit with me today, promising you that you're not going to drive. Do you have liability insurance in your name? Car insurance?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I don't want you driving until you have a Texas driver license. You need to call DPS, figure out what to do to get your license. I'm going to give you the phone number now, but it's time for you to get your license back. And when you show me that you have your license and that you have car insurance, I will happily allow you to drive. But until that point, do not drive.
Am I not allowed with the SR22?
No, I don't know what's going on with your license. I don't know if you've ever had a license. What's going on, Alex? Can you run it, please?
On the license?
Please.
Yes, Your Honor.
I mean, I can't give you legal advice, okay? But as it stands, until you have a Texas driver license and liability insurance, don't drive. I'm also ordering you as a condition of your bond not to be in possession of any weapons as well. Do you understand?
Now here's where it gets messy. The smell of marijuana, a firearm in plain view, and a suspended license. On the surface, that sounds like a slam dunk for the prosecution, unless, of course, the initial traffic stop shouldn't have happened in the first place. Keep that in mind.
The condition of your bond, if I find that you have a weapon, I'm going to revoke your bond. I'm going to put you in jail. You will not get any more PR bonds. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, sir.
How old are you?
26.
What do you do for a living?
High school football coach.
And I see it is not eligible, and it says it's a mandatory suspension due to driving with license invalid, as well as an SR suspension.
Okay, so you even have an SR suspension. You can't drive at all. So this is now a bond condition. If I find that you drive, I'm telling you, HE double hockey sticks to pay. You understand?
So I'm not allowed to retrieve my weapon back?
I'm ordering you now, while this case is open, not to have any weapons.
Yes, sir.
Okay? Here, Stephen, do you mind giving this to me, please? This is the number to the driver's license division to DPS. You need to call them in the morning to figure out what you need to do to get your license back. Don't call them at 9. Don't call them at 8. Don't call them at 1:02. You're never going to get through. You need to call right when the phone line's open, which is at 7 o'clock in the morning. You'll get through, give them your license number, and ask them what you need to do to get your license back.
Okay.
Once you do, I'll tell you, I'll take this off, you know?
Yes, sir.
Did you want to apply for an appointed lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I need you to fill out an application for me. I'll take a look at it. And then assuming you qualify, I'll give you a lawyer today. I'm going to have you sign this agreement with me today that you're not going to drive. And I want you to understand, Mr. Flores, I take this so serious. Don't drive. If you drove here, you can't drive home.
No, I didn't drive here. My father did.
All right. So I'll have you come up here, swear to us. I'm going to have you go to Jamae, sign a reset, and then we'll have you fill out the application. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Bringing a shared code book at the moment. We may have to have you look at a couple interesting things.
Okay.
And this is on the Trevor Flores case, Judge, and I think you visited with that gentleman earlier. He's present here in the courtroom at the moment.
Okay.
But I got the case this morning. I've had a chance to do a kind of little bit of digging
Cursory.
into, yes. And although we are still waiting for the bulk of discovery in the case, he's charged with unlawful carrying of a weapon following a traffic stop. And I've got a map that is kind of intriguing. I think you'll find just with the way it's drawn. But he stopped by an officer with the City of Bel Air Police Department, and may I approach to just show you.
You drive again, and you're going straight to jail, no pit stops. Judges have zero patience for people who ignore bond conditions, and Flores just got a very loud, very clear warning.
Lineation. But but he's pulled over going.
I know the area well.
Northbound. He's pulled over going northbound on 610 as what is described as makes an unsafe lane change. So he's northbound on 610, wants to get on 59 to go southbound, is erroneously in the wrong lane going northbound. The officer says that she has observed him makes that unsafe lane change, and that lane change is outside of the City of Bel Air Police Department jurisdiction. Now, we have a particular statute that governs whether officers can have the authority to make a detention of someone when they are outside of their jurisdiction, and that's 14.03 of
Their
their.
PD can still stop someone outside of Bel Air.
Well, not for, well, according to the code, it says a peace officer.
That would mean that any officer outside would never be able to do anything.
No, that's incorrect. There's a very limited exception, and that's what applies in this case. So it says a peace officer who's licensed and is outside of the officer's jurisdiction may arrest without a warrant a person who commits any offense within the officer's presence or view, other than a violation of Subtitle C, Title 7.
Okay, this is where it gets fun. The defense isn't arguing innocence. They're challenging the legality of the stop itself. And they brought props. A map, no less. Welcome to Legal Geometry 101, where being just a few feet outside the city limits could change the outcome of the entire case.
Of the transportation code. So generally, any offense that an officer sees, he can arrest that person or detain them, as the way the code uses that term, arrest. He can detain that person. But when it's for a traffic offense, that officer is required.
He's not arresting him for a traffic offense, though.
Well, that was the basis for the stop.
Sure.
But the way the code contemplates arrest, it's any, and that's defined in, I think, in chapter 15. But arrest, as contemplated by the code, includes detention. And so this officer doesn't have the ability, where that stop takes place, to make that detention. That officer could detain him if he saw him committing theft, could detain him if he saw him committing an assault, can't for a transportation code
But
violation.
he stops him for whatever reason it is, right? Comes up to the car and he smells marijuana,
Yes.
right?
Well,
And
that's
then
what's-
don't they even get a drug sniffing dog? Is this the one where they get a drug sniffing dog and they find the weed? And
No, Your Honor, that's it.
was that a different case?
No, it's a different case, Judge. But the handgun, I believe, was in.
It was in plain view.
No, I think so I think what's alleged is it's in conjunction with possession of marijuana. And for purposes of just this limited PC question, not my focus is solely the detention. I'm not.
It's certainly crafty. It's great. But he's not arresting him for the traffic offense.
Well, but I think we're looking at a limited scope of what arrest means. So I think you're looking at arrest as in
So
being arrested.
you would be saying that really if he had committed an ag rob, right? Or
Well,
kidnapping, then even if he had kidnapped, like let's say he had a 2-year-old child in the car that he had kidnapped across state lines. Well, then according to this, because he's in a different jurisdiction, then you couldn't arrest him on that kidnapping charge too.
If he saw a kidnapping taking place, the officer could arrest him under that code. But what he can't do is when there's a traffic code violation, we don't allow for example, the El Paso Police Department to come to Houston and then sit on the street corner and arrest people for traffic violations. We don't allow them to make those stops. And that's what's at issue here, is a peace officer who's outside of his jurisdiction able to enforce the traffic
I
code.
know where you're going and I've seen it before, but I'm not.
And we're looking at G1, Judge.
Here's the loophole. An officer can detain someone outside their jurisdiction for a serious crime. Think robbery or assault, but not for a simple traffic offense. So if this stop was only for a bad lane change, everything that followed, the search, the evidence, could be considered fruit from the poison tree.
Where exactly did it occur anyways?
Let me see if I can pull up the
So I
exact
think-
address. We don't have like any discovery in
Sure.
this case, or how many dash cam or anything like that.
So what it says in there is 5600, 610 northbound. And what's so curious about this is.
Is that still in Bel Air? Is it
No,
outside of
that
Bel
would be
Air?
outside of Bel Air too. And going northbound, southbound lanes are covered in the city of Bel Air. The northbound lanes, for some reason, are not.
I don't know. We'd have to look closer. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm
mean,
happy to
it's
look
something that
further into this.
You have to
Judge.
look. I mean,
can't make
I
any-
can't make that determination now.
Fair enough.
Number two,
Yes.
he's not arresting him on a traffic offense.
Well, and I think what the code contemplates when it says arrest, and I think there's case law on this, is that it includes the concept of detention as that's been, because I think when that code was written.
And so what I'm saying would apply as well, though. Like if he catches a 2-year-old kid, right, that's been kidnapped, by your theory, he wouldn't be able to arrest him on the kidnapping charge too.
Well, it's not my theory, it's the code.
If he has a dead body in the car, he wouldn't be able to do it.
Well, that's a legislature question. And I mean, but they wrote that.
I can't imagine that the legislature intended that. I think that they intended for a traffic, let's say for speeding, right? Or your tail light is out. Yeah, not to arrest in that respect. But he goes up to the car, smells marijuana, sees a gun in plain view. I can't imagine the legislature intended in that purpose.
And my position, of course, is that, this may be for a motion to suppress later down the line, and I think there's still
But
plenty more to do in the
it's a
case.
freaking awesome argument.
Well, but the idea
I love you.
is
Mr. You're wonderful.
no right to
Right?
detain him.
Right? Really?
I appreciate the judge, and we'll get.
I'm not ready yet,
Yeah.
but build it. If you build it